So technically we're live.
Oh,
See,
technically,
this is
okay.
it. This is it. Technically we're
All
live. So
right.
it's just me and you. It's just me and you. Oh, but somebody joined. Mark.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Hi,
Club One,
Mark.
2, 3. I'm glad we're getting San Miguel de la Justicia, Daryl Cox. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Daryl.
Hi, everybody. Join us. Hi, Claudette. I'm here with Spencer Gray.
Hi,
So
Claudette.
exciting. Hi, Katita. Mark
That's
is
my
saying
wife, I think.
hello. Oh, cool. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Family is great. They are welcome. I'm
Yeah.
sure because also she's probably supporting a lot of what you do, like
She
just
does.
being right?
She's very supportive, and she's a great, not just a great partner, but a great woman and a great mom, uh, and a great, just a great partner in life, and supports what I'm doing. And she actually proofreads all my articles. So,
Well, I just want to say, and again, you guys, I'm here with Spencer Gray. Spencer, your writing is fantastic.
thanks. You're gonna make me turn all red.
Well, it's okay. I mean, your writing is so well, first of all, it's gripping for me.
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
locked in. But secondly, you're also you help people know what to do and like the steps they can take in a real way to start to organize their communities to live and survive this world we're in right now. So, if she's helping you edit, wonderful. Your writing is awesome. And I do have one question about that.
What's that?
When did you start writing?
When I was a kid, actually, um, it's funny. I grew up way out in the country. And my dad was a biker and a disc jockey and a musician, and we didn't have a lot of money. So where I grew up was just this old place in the country, and my nearest friend was, I don't know, really long way away. So literally made friends with books and comic books and music and those kinds of things. And I know it always fascinated me that these great writers I respected, whether it was Stephen King or Kropotkin, could build these ideas in my head. So so I always, and I loved movies too. I grew up watching a lot of horror movies and stuff. It was the '80s, so I always, I kind of had this idea I was going to be this great writer someday, and that never really worked out. So
That
um,
what you are? What are you talking about?
I meant
Hello,
like,
that
Stephen
goal is
King or something. So no, so but anyway, I've been writing since I was a kid. I started writing short stories and poems and things, and my ideas about, because ever since I was a kid, I don't know, I've had this, I don't know, I'm one of these people that looked around even when I was young and thought something was wrong with the world, you know? And, and really, people treated me like crap because I was a poor kid and, all that, but it really wasn't even like from that. It was more or less like, I looked at all the churches and the law and the businesses and the hypocrisy in my small town. It was MAGA before MAGA was a thing, really. So it just inspired me to be a thinker, and I would write down like what I thought the world should be. And then I started reading, anarchist books and texts, and I'd find, or Marx, I'd read communist literature, anarchist literature, feminist literature. I always, my wife gave me a thumbs up, but I
I
would,
do too. I do.
so I started realizing that there were other people in the world who thought like I did. So I just kept writing. I've been writing and writing and writing and writing, even when I'm not going to do anything with it. There's an old saying, a writer writes, I guess. So I guess I'm just a born writer. And I fell in love with it when I was a kid, and I'm still doing it. And when I started Substack, I was really just, really write just kind of one article and see how it went. And man, I've got like
It went
9 now.
well.
So I haven't written anything in a
First
couple of
article
weeks.
went well. And it
Yeah, it
was
really did.
June 1st, I believe, 2026, just this year, right?
Yeah.
So
It
you
took
just joined recently, I guess.
Yeah, it took me a long everybody well, I've got over 23,000 followers on Instagram, and it's all political, and, I network with a lot of people, collab with a lot of people, big accounts and stuff, and, everybody kept
I
telling me, "Get
didn't
on."
know that. You're already a
Yeah, it's on
celebrity. I
links
didn't
on.
even know.
Yeah, and, yeah, so I always feel like I'm cheating on Instagram when I get on Substack, but, that's where my real kinda audience is, I think, just because I have so many people, and, I have anarchists and communists and, just all kinds of different folks, and, they're all welcome to safe space for everyone except Nazis. So, or the suits, but, everybody kept sending me messages saying, get on Substack, and I was like, "I don't know if I have the energy to start another thing." And then I finally gave it a try, and I found it people were, receptive to what I had to say, so
Yes, very receptive, me being one of them,
and I appreciate that.
Yes, and I did go back again today because, I like to read again the articles and really connect with the ideas, and,
Mm,
one of the things that you started talking about in your second article was, revolution,
yes,
which is something that I don't hear or see a lot of people talking about, but I am.
yeah,
And I feel alone in it at times. So when I saw that and then I really read what it means to you, how you envision being in a revolution,
yeah,
achieving revolution, the many parts of that, they were many of the same ideas that I had, which I'm sure your community on Instagram does too. But
yeah,
in my world, which was previously Facebook, there were none of that. Then I joined Blue Sky. It's very blue MAGA. Then I came to Substack, and Substack is actually where I felt some solidarity in a real way
yeah,
with people who are afraid to really critically think in a real way about everything
yeah.
we've ever learned, everything that exists, all of what is around us. So, with that in mind, would you share some of the ideas about when you think of revolution? Can you share some of the parts that you were talking about in your article?
Well, it r folks have this idea that well, first of all, I just wanna start off by saying that, I hear this phrase thrown around a lot that politics is becoming more revolutionary all by itself. I don't think that's true. I think that or that politics is becoming too radical. I don't think that politics by itself is becoming radical. I think that just what the radical part is that the mask is off. The suits, the oligarchs, whatever you want to call them, the reptilian people, if that's your thing, whatever you want to call them. The whether it's Republicans or Democrats or DSAs or um, whoever. I think the mask is off, and it's all about it's this of who wants to control humanity the most, who gets to control the world, and I think that in my heart and mind, that revolution. Everybody has this idea, this Hollywood idea that revolution. We're all gonna just everybody's gonna step outside their house one day and just beat the crap out of the ruling class, and we're gonna have this huge revolution, and then everything's gonna be
Guillotines.
yeah, and you'll have guillotines and militias and things, and I'm not saying that's not gonna happen, I'm not gonna say that couldn't happen, I'm not gonna but if everybody started a revolution in the morning or tonight, and just everybody said, "Okay, I've had enough, let's go out and just, you know, have a war with these guys, these men and women who are, got their boot on our neck." That would be counterproductive, suicidal, and kinda dumb. I mean, I know that's what people think of when you hear revolution, and it can even stop a lot of conversations, because we've been trained to, really, treat certain conversations like landmines, armed resistance, militias, revolt, guillotines, whatever. We handle these, it makes people's blood pressure go up. You start talking about guns, and that's where I lose the liberals in the room, because guns are associated with everything that's bad, school shootings, mass shootings. You think of cracked out hillbillies in the forest who think, or Nazis or whatever, or
Mhm.
preppers or bikers or whatever, revolution has a lot more to it. I'm not saying armed resistance is not gonna be a part of revolution, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not afraid to say it. But what I think is that we have to have a groundwork first. We have to have a framework. We have to get back to community. We have to realize I'm not a Christian. I don't follow the Bible. I know a lot about it. I've kind of became obsessed with it for a while, so I do know a lot about it. There's a thing in the Bible I do like. It's talking about holding all things in common. I think we have to get back to that as human beings and quit this radical individualism. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with individuality. Um, I would never give up my individuality. I like just having me and my wife, my dogs, my land, and the kids, and you know, uh, motorcycles and guns and whatever else I'm into. I have my own individuality. That's not what I'm saying. But this radical individuality our society's based on has to go. We have
Mhm.
to get back to holding all things in common, like the Bible says. And I'm not preaching. I just happen to like that verse. And I think there's a lot of truth to it. I think we have to form a groundwork, a framework,
Mhm.
and it's going to consist of mutual aid. And you're going to learn more about being a revolutionary, doing mutual aid, and bringing communities together to talk about your problems and what good solutions to those problems are outside the system than you're ever going to have. And you're going to have more luck with that and learn more about being a radical revolutionary than you ever will just picking up a gun, getting mad, and going out and hurting people. That's just not the way I think it should be done. And when the revolution, let's say you win, let's say you kill all the bad guys, and what happens when that's all said and done? The pharmacies have been raided, and you've got high blood pressure, and now you're going to have a stroke in 2 weeks. I mean, we really have to have more of community framework. We have to decentralize from the suits, the government, whatever you want to call it. I hate calling it the government because it's not a government. It's just a bunch of
That's a great point.
capitalists.
Damn,
It's
that's a good point.
I
It
hate
is
calling it. It's
not a
not a government.
government.
It's not. And
I
our
call it a
Constitution,
regime, a regime.
yeah, a regime's a good
I
word.
call it regime.
Yeah. And our Constitution. Everybody wants to talk about the Constitution, this, the Constitution, that. Well, the Constitution is just it was designed to manage a state, not set people free from a state. So I think before there's any kind of revolution, I think we have to really get back into mutual aid, um, community groundwork, and and a lot of people make comments on my articles about, well, no, I don't feel like being Amish and going back to the barter system. And well, barter system was a lie invented by John Adams. Okay, or I mean Adam Smith. I mean, before that we had a credit system. If you had 15 chickens and I didn't have anything to pay you, but you gave me your chickens, I'd go fix your barn. I'm not saying that's the way it should be done. I'm just using that as an example to
Yeah.
say that we have to get away
There are
from things
other
like,
ways. There are other
yeah,
ways.
there are other ways to do things besides
Yes.
this lust and hustle, grind, money, bullshit society.
Yep.
That everybody's in love with the wrong stuff.
Oof.
Everybody's in love with you know, falling in line instead of falling in love. I think everything radical decisions should come from your heart, not your ego. I believe so.
Mm.
You know.
Love is my religion. There's a song, and I love it, by Ziggy Marley. Love is my religion. I'm atheist, by the way. I grew up Catholic. And when I went to college, I went to a Jesuit university, and there I was actually challenged in these classes to question my
Yeah.
faith, which I did. And I
Mm,
and I became atheist. Um, I noticed you talked about reading a lot of books.
uh,
You did, the Bible was one. You said you
yeah.
read it a lot. You don't necessarily, like, you're not religious per se. I read in one of your articles about kind of like growing up around Christian nationalism before it was called Christian nationalism.
Mhm.
What does that mean? What did you see? Tell me about that.
Well, I mean, it's just I grew up in a strictly patriarchal society. It was Christian nationalism before what's now considered MAGA wanted to send the whole world back to the Second Temple period. I mean, it was the dark ages. It was a small Texas town, I just never as a kid, I never could understand why we had this huge church with all these windows and flags and, statist flags, and we even had a flag of Israel outside of our church. It's this mega complex in this small town for some reason.
Wow.
But we had all these homeless people. I never could understand why money went to that, but never into, battered women's
Mhm.
shelters or homeless shelters. So, and if you didn't go to the right church where you weren't gonna get a prom date, if you didn't go to, if you had different thoughts about anything, you were a heretic that was gonna burn in hell. They tried to ban MTV, when it first came out. See, I'm old enough to remember this stuff. The Garbage Pail Kids, when that came out, they took them out of all the stores.
The
They took
garbage
all
pail.
the Yeah, they took all the, heretical literature, anything subversive out of bookstores, whether it was Marx or Emma Goldman or Aleister Crowley. It didn't matter really what it was. It was just like you had this vanilla town, and everybody in it was a corrupt asshole. I'm sorry to use that kind of language, but you had everybody that went to that big church. They owned the car dealerships, and they were cops, and they all beat their wives. All their sons were football players that date rape girls out at the waterworks, and they were, they all, and they would hire, immigrants and pay them little or nothing to do their massive lawns, and it was just like, I don't know, it just seemed like a country club where a bunch of hypocrites got together. And
I would say that's a damn good description.
it was a country club, and, uh, and it all just like, that movie, The Stepford Wives? You remember that?
Yeah. Mhm.
That's the way the whole town seemed to me. Well, and, just all these Stepford people who were clones of the person sitting next to them. Nobody had really a original thought about anything. There was nothing to talk about. If you had some kind of subversive thought or anything, you were either going to hell, or you were a criminal, or you were this, or you were that, some label put on you. And, that had a lot to do with forming who I am besides, how I grew up, but, and they were all like just these racist, horrible people that just lusted after money and wanted to control their environment at all costs, and everybody else should feel the same way they do about everything. And
Right.
it's something I just couldn't wrap my brain around. It's like why society is the way society's still that way. I use my small town as an example of just how the world is.
Yes.
I like being around people from the LGBTQ community. I I I'm not a part of that community, but I like to be around those people, or I don't mean those people, but I'm saying, like, people from that community, because
Yes.
I like to be around people of color. I like to be around people from other countries. I like to eat different food. I like to hear about different religions and points of view and things that are colorful, and I like culture, and I like things that are different. This homogenous society there that these idiots want, it's boring. Why would you want
So
that?
fucking boring.
Why would
It's
you wanna
so
live in
fucking
that?
boring.
It's boring,
I'm
you know?
so bored with our politics, and the drama of them making it seem like there's some fucking celebrity
Yeah,
performance going on. It's so fucking boring. What's really exciting is when people innovate and solve social problems. That's really
yeah,
fucking exciting.
right,
Um, so I tune out. I know earlier before we got on, we were talking about this idea of, and you talked about it a little bit already, being an outlaw and what that means to you. And because to me, as I, have been connecting to your work, I see that you and I both understand that our political process and system, our
yeah.
electoral system, cannot, will not, is in no way the way it is going to help us. So, what is, again, more ideas, please, about what does it mean to be an outlaw? how would you talk about that?
Um, I mean, in my point of view, this day and age, being an outlaw is not a like what kind of motorcycle you ride or how many times you've been in prison or what kind of tattoos you have um or just living outside society or living off the radar, as they say. It's nothing like that. You can do, uh, personally, my idea of being an outlaw is rejecting the world in its completeness. Rejecting all social mores, rejecting, uh, just rejecting the world as it is. An outlaw doesn't really want anything but freedom, but not just for himself, um, but for everybody, because as the old saying goes, nobody's free until everybody's free. So
Mhm.
to me, being an outlaw is about complete and total freedom, and that's for everybody, even the people we don't like. And you know, um, I think most people consider freedom just they want enough freedom to be comfortable. They don't really want to be responsible for their own freedom, and that takes work. That takes planning. That means taking risks. That means being unsure and scared. But we've been driven to this point, and I think you have to just keep a warrior mindset all the time, and just keep building on yourself. And I think all the other stuff will fall into place. And I think we've reached a point in society where we have to completely reject society completely, but not each other. Society as an
Right.
entity, society
Right.
as a machine. You
Yes.
know, the guy, some people down the street from me are they got I saw a guy, he had the, MAGA flags up for months and months. Finally, he comes out one day and I don't know if he saw me, but he tore his Donald Trump flag down, So that's what I'm saying, like, we have to want freedom for everybody, even the people we don't like.
Right,
And that
because
takes
they could become free.
right, and that takes a lot of work, for well, I see all this. Personally, I think the biggest thing we have that's the biggest problem. One of my favorite thinkers is Robert Anton Wilson. I'll live and die by his books, and he would probably hate that because yeah, he didn't consider himself to be really anything that anybody should role model themselves after or to design a belief system after. Because I think our biggest problem in this society, and the reason I say being an outlaw is rejecting society, I think the biggest problem we have in this society is belief, is these reality tunnels we all live in, because once you have a belief system or a reality tunnel that you live in, that's not my word, that's Robert Anton Wilson, but once
Okay.
you have a belief system, you know, eh, even if you came up with it yourself, that belief system either rejects new information
Mm,
or it skews the information so it'll fit that belief system. And so everybody we've gotten in all this tribalism, not because we hate each other, but because we're attached to these belief systems. And belief is the death of intelligence. Your brain just quits coming up with new ideas.
mm,
I honestly, I think it's time just to burn it all and start over, and that includes belief.
mm. I never heard anybody say it quite like that.
Oh, thanks.
Mhm. You
But
do
yeah,
have, a unique voice, I thought
thank
for
you,
sure.
thank you.
You mentioned having, 20 some, good number of followers, 20,000 on Instagram. Do those people all think like you? I mean, not exactly, but, like, can I know that there's 20,000 other people that are about revolution, are doing mutual aid, are, maybe forming their militias, doing community defense? Like, is your sense that
Excuse me.
this is very active throughout?
Yes,
Yes.
I know everybody thinks that Instagram, especially people our age, and think, oh, it's just a bunch of people posting memes and pictures and whatnot. But I the impressive thing to me about Instagram and the reason Meta it's so hard to be on Instagram now because you get shadow banned, you get restricted, you get your stuff deleted. They have these little crawling robots, whatever they called it, you know. Um, I posted a meme deck the other day, and I literally got dinged by their algorithm saying they were gonna delete my account because I was trying to sell guns. And all I did was post a news story about how silencers are now legal in the United States,
Wow.
a
That was
and
way
I
off.
yeah, and I contested it, and a human being with human being eyes actually looked at it and went, "Oh, no, it was a news story he was posting."
Okay.
But, yeah, there's a lot of subversive content on Instagram, and you gotta be careful about what you say. That's another reason I like Substack is you can say whatever the heck you want, pretty much,
Pretty much.
and,
That's what
yeah,
I've noticed too.
yeah, you have to be really
Pretty
careful
much.
on Instagram. They do
Of
these follow
course.
yeah,
Yeah, because,
it well, it's
they're a
meta.
private company. Exactly, and they have their views, and they are pressing probably, right, like, free thought, and they can because they're a corporation, they're not the government, like, a lot of people
Right,
don't understand, like, they can suppress you, they can delete your account because they're a private corporation, they're
sure,
not the government, they're not bound by having to respect free speech.
free
That's
speech,
just
yeah,
not how it works. I got off those meta platforms after, what I believe was the most obviously rigged election
mm,
in history. Not the first, but the most obvious one. And then on the inauguration, it just is seared in my head, these tech oligarchs in the front row. And so I realized, you know what? This is going to be an action I can take. I got off Facebook. Oh, it was the best decision of my fucking life. Like, you don't realize sometimes how crappy the apps are. I mean, Facebook is trash, the amount of ads, the obviously the algorithms, but very much respect, of course,
mhm,
forms of expression. I would have never been thought I would been doing a live stream or writing like articles or
right,
making posts. Like, maybe this will end at some point. We won't have access. But for now, I do find social media to be so helpful for me because I don't have people right around me who want to talk about these things or might
mhm,
think I'm a little too out there
yeah,
or just if I'm going to be at home talking about this all the time, it's not a good vibe. It's like I want this to be contained.
uh-huh,
And in the end, I've met people like you, again, who inspire me, who help me feel like I'm not alone, who, are just helping me be in this chapter of existence,
right,
which I personally believe will be the rest of my life. And so I am joining with people like you and
yeah,
others so that I can have community and so that we can
yeah,
survive.
well, yeah, and that's what it goes back to, is community, even in religion, everybody describes heaven as a moneyless, classless, stateless society, this huge community, but, why can't it be that way on Earth, why do I have to wait till I die to have that? Why do I have to live under capitalism until I die? I mean, it's a silly thing, and, you know, uh, I mean, it I mean, yeah, there are a lot of for real people on the internet,
Mhm.
yeah, and on
Yes.
Instagram, back to Instagram, now granted, there's a lot of people who I see this trend now because politics is trendy now, and, I see a lot of people pretending, a lot of posers, growing up in
Yes.
biker culture, we hate posers, but, um,
Fair.
yeah, but I'm saying, a
I
lot of
bet
it's
there's a
personal.
lot of posers for bikers.
Oh, yeah.
A lot.
Oh, yeah,
Because you could
and
have the jacket, you could have the boots, you could have the bike, but that does not mean, I assume, that you have
yeah,
internalized and are a part of the culture,
no. You
right?
know,
So, yeah.
a lot of things are it's just personal brand it's just like personal exhibitionism and brand maintenance, I see a lot of leftists trying to sell t-shirts and, a lot of grifters. I mean, yeah, the internet's it's the wild west. It's a minefield of bullshit, but there are real legit people out there.
Yep.
I make no money doing this. I mean, I have some paid subscribers. Not a lot, but I have some. I appreciate it, don't get me wrong. Every time somebody hits the pay and subscribe thing, I go, but, that's not why I do it. I'm not trying to I pay my mortgage and everything in other ways. Um, I don't, what I'm saying is I'm not in this for the money. So,
Right.
even, depending on how things go with, I could be even putting my personal freedom at stake doing this.
Absolutely.
Um, you
Absolutely. You're putting
you
your
know,
face on here, you're putting your name
yeah,
on here.
I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah, and you have to be careful about who you talk to, and that's another reason I'm kinda grateful that I did grow up in the culture that I did because, the rule is that everybody's a snitch.
Okay.
Everybody's a
Yeah.
potential Fed. So I only have, like,
Protective,
yeah, I
cautious,
only
protective.
yeah. People have to really, like, really, your phone's a snitch, yeah, people have to, like, really when they start these hard conversations, these conversational landmines, as I call them, and they wanna get serious about building community or anything else, um, learn about surveillance culture, take it seriously. Don't hand these guys easy arrests. Um, yeah, I mean, be careful.
Do you ever let me ask you, do you ever have moments where you get, like, a little bit anxious, like, that someone's going to come and knock on your door, or there was one of the I don't know if you know Descent in Bloom, but there was a shooting, into their house, and maybe I don't know if it was related, but I'm just saying in our politically violent world, our
Right.
world of terrorism,
Yeah.
perpetrated by our own very regime, do you ever feel like, "Ooh, I could kinda maybe be at risk?" Or what do you think?
Well, I mean, you can get killed walking your dog, so, the way I look at it is I live out I'm not gonna, give any hints about where I live, but where I live is very isolated. My dogs
Okay.
will kill you. I have 2 German
Okay.
Shepherds that are well trained. They will kill you if you come on this property. Um,
Okay.
me, not just myself, but my wife and my kids know how to defend themselves. It would be very stupid of you, to come on my property. Now, if you're a law enforcement person, if you don't have a warrant, please go away. I
Mhm.
mean,
Mhm.
I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm not saying anything
No, you're
illegal.
not. No, of course not.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I have a friend who's a civil rights attorney who believes the same things we do, and sometimes I
Okay.
send her articles and say, "Hey, you think this is too much? You think this will, have a three-letter agency knocking on my door?" And, sometimes she'll say, "Yeah," and most of the time she says, "Nah, go ahead and say it." But I'm very careful. I don't throw caution to the wind. I love my freedom and I have a family to look out for, but
So there is
no.
definitely an awareness there as
Oh,
you're
yeah.
writing,
Yeah.
as you're like, there's an awareness, you think about it, it's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
there, it's on your mind.
Of course.
I have those moments, and it's just very notable because I didn't feel that way until right now,
Yeah.
like, all of these other years that I was posting and shit posting and making memes and
Mhm.
saying, really, like, things that got me the bans on Facebook or whatever. I didn't
Yeah.
feel at all threatened then, but now, I mean, the amplification of, obviously suppression of speech, but also just basic terrorism in the streets and tackling people, making examples of people. I just feel like, yes, this is any one of us could be it.
Yeah.
And
I
it just feels different.
It is and, there are knuckleheads out there. There's Nazis out there. There's, all kinds of bad people out there. And if you're gonna do what we do, my best advice is to get tactical, get you a permit, carry. I mean, I hate that that's the world we live in. I wish it wasn't. I mean, I don't like violence, but I'm comfortable with it as well. Um, learn how to box, learn BJJ, learn how to defend yourself, learn, you know, learn how to handle a gun safely and defend yourself. I know people hate that kind of talk. I wish I didn't have to say it. I'm not a gun nut. I, you know, but like I said, I mean, my entire family knows how to defend themselves in case something bad did visit this property, but I guarantee you my dogs will get you before I will.
Right, right,
I
right.
mean, you can hear them. They wanted to be interviewed too, but
They're welcome, they are always welcome. Do you also have a cat? Because I feel like I saw a picture of a cat. Was that
yeah,
your cat?
yeah, I
Your
have
cat?
we have 4 cats.
4 cats? Okay.
No, 3, 3. We have 3 cats.
Okay.
And, we yeah, they live upstairs mostly because of the dogs. So it's like the
Okay.
dogs have the downstairs and, the cats pretty much have the upstairs. So,
That's a
uh,
great way to share the space.
yeah, and my
Great way
oldest
to
cat,
share the space.
Toonces should be 14 this year, and she's just a grumpy old lady. She doesn't like anybody except me, I think. Well, she likes my wife, but she comes down and has coffee with her before I get up because she gets up earlier than I do, so she's a morning person and I'm not, so she lets the cats come down before me and the dogs get up, so
Oh, they get to share the downstairs.
yeah, so they
Well,
do get to
I
come
got I
downstairs.
got a cat just 5 weeks ago,
Mm,
and he's a great cat, and, he was 9 months old when we got him
yeah,
from a shelter, and he's been such a great companion, and, yeah, I grew up around a lot of dogs, but dogs are so responsibility. They really are training them, especially training them, giving
mhm,
them what they need. Cats are a little more maintenance. I have a turtle, I've had a bird. My mom has a couple of dogs. I understand what goes into being a
yeah,
dog owner. I respect it so much, and I'm not there yet. I'm just not
yeah.
there.
Well, how
In
we got
terms of learning how to use a weapon, I really plan to. Um, I got. I never thought that I would ever consider that. I just moved to a state where there's no permit needed.
yeah,
I was in New York and New Jersey previously, and, I did get a permit in New Jersey.
mhm,
But as such an amateur, it's also expensive to buy, um, these guns. A gun, I don't even know what to say. I learned about
yeah,
the different types, but, like, there's some cost associated, there's some time, practice. It's also a big commitment, but one that I am very much invested in learning, and I don't know my timeline, but, I respect very much what you're saying about the
yeah,
need to arm ourselves,
yeah,
and to maybe I'm starting too late, but, like, to start ASAP with that, to start as soon as possible, maybe, say, growing food, say of course, right now, setting up a network of mutual aid,
right,
right? Like, it's like we're past time to begin,
mhm.
and a lot of us are catching up.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
mean,
just
I'm
where
one
we are.
yeah, and, it's funny you bring up growing food. My wife and I are big on that. We wanna get our community garden, expanded. It's so simple to start mutual aid. I mean, all you have to do is really just knock on the door and get to know your neighbor a little and ask them what their problems what they think the problems in the community are and what you guys collectively think could be done to solve them. Have study groups and study all kinds of literature, make plans. Vote on the local level. I don't believe voting really carries much weight, on a big scale, like Republican versus Democrat and all that, but, I think it's kind of as the meme says, it's the adult version of writing a letter to Santa. I mean, they're just offense and defense for the same team at this point,
Mhm.
and,
Yes.
I mean, you got Democrats right now saying they would, rather vote for a Republican than a Democratic socialist, I mean,
Yes.
like, what's going on in the
That's what
country?
we have. Mhm.
And we're at that point,
Yep.
and, so, I mean, yeah, grow food, start a community fridge, brew up the coffee and have study groups, have them at the local bar or pool hall, make it fun, learn about, how to build systems outside the systems and show the assholes in power, "Hey, we don't need you. We can take care of ourselves," and we really can. We really
Yes, we
can. It's
can.
the way humanity lived long before capitalism,
Mhm.
it wasn't always like this.
No, it wasn't.
And, and you've gotta be able to defend yourself. I mean, if say you're these let's say you're anarchist, farmers and you're growing, communal food for everybody. So at some point, some deputy dog or some drone or
Mhm.
drones are gonna show up or brigands or whoever, somebody shows up with a badge gonna try to take it away from you or harm you to get what you have. I
Yep,
mean, self-defense is always gonna be a part of life. Just existing in this world, it's just always, unfortunately, the way it's gonna be. I was lucky I grew up around guns, they've always been a part of my life, but like I said, I'm no gun nut. I look at them as tools,
yep, yep.
for sport, for order, for self-protection.
Yep.
Um, I'm not in gun culture and all that alpha male bullshit, I hate that stuff. But but,
Ah, so glad.
yeah, I don't even watch football, I even hate the whistle, but, I like boxing though. But, yeah, I mean, start a community fridge, start a community garden. I mean, as you get to know your net, we've all become so isolated, and Marx wrote about that. It's a feature of capitalism.
Yes.
And I'm no
Isolation.
communist. I'm not even don't even call myself an anarchist, but we're also isolated. Like you'll find that your neighbor down the street with the blue hair, who's a tattoo artist, knows a lot about fixing cars, and your car may be broken, but she can't afford to buy her medication, for example. So you could buy her medication and she could fix your car. I mean, there's just I'm not, I'm just saying there's all different kinds of ideas and ways that we can live outside the system.
Absolutely. Because we are so in this culture have been consuming so much for so long, there's actually a lot of abundance,
Yeah.
and we can trade a lot, and we can exchange
Right.
things for services because we have a lot. We have a lot of resources.
We do.
Americans have everything we need
Hmm.
to overthrow this regime. We
Right.
just have to understand that it's necessary because
Hmm.
without that, we can't get to the our brain needs to do it to
Right.
figure out problems, to be up against a wall as a community and say like, they're coming for us. What are we doing? Because our brain kind of needs that. Right now, people are kind of like comfortable. Oh, let's wait and see what happens with the midterms. Like it's on like what I'm
You still
there
there?
because an
Oh.
alarm went off. Yeah,
Oh,
can
okay.
you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm here.
Yeah, my 8:10 alarm went off. That's
Oh, okay.
always there. It's for. Did I forget to do anything today that I wanted to do?
Oh,
It's 8:10, and anyway. So
I honestly think that if we could just get to the point where I'm a big fan of decentralization. Um, you know, uh, y- Politically, all that means is taking the power away from a small group of oligarchs or suits and moving it back into the hands of the people. That being the end goal. It's going to take a lot of work. And economically, all that means is getting rid of the mega corporations and these too big to fail corporations and putting our money back into mom and pops and, independent industries and independent farming and growers. And I'm not saying let's all be Amish. I'm saying, look at people have this problem with the word community for some reason. I'm not saying like we should all be like, I hate to use the word Amish. I don't want to pick on them, but that's what people get in their head. Look at it like it's the same thing about 15-minute city, for example. That's why the capitalists spin these fairy tale conspiracy theories about 15-minute cities. Everything's in walking distance, 15 minutes. Look at your community like that. You know, it and
mm,
really work on decentralization away
yes,
from because real change occurs when new systems make old systems obsolete. I'm a big believer in that. You don't even have to you never have to fire a shot to do that.
such a great point. That's such a great point. We have to develop alternatives to all of the things that we rely on right now. Healthcare, education, media,
Yeah.
um, obviously markets, food, clothing. We have to innovate. We have to find ways to do this, as you said, again, as an outlaw outside of
Right.
the systems.
Right. It's just like
Um,
my wife and I canceled all of our movie apps. Not only were they bleeding us dry financially, but I learned how to pirate shit. Go do that.
that's a great article you wrote too
Oh,
about
thanks. I
piracy.
saw that yeah. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, go pirate. Learn. It's not hard.
I
My
love it.
8-year-old nephew taught me how to do it. Actually, it's
Maybe we could, you know, do a little class or
yeah,
something.
maybe. Yeah. I mean, piracy's not perfect, it takes a little takes learning some skills but I'm saying why give your money to the Disney Corporation who are a bunch of Zionists anyway and or to I mean it's like you hit pause on a movie now and they've got an ad while you go to the
Oh
bathroom,
yeah, yeah.
why make them richer?
The
Steal
services are
from them.
trash. Like
Don't
they
steal
don't
from
even
each other,
offer us
steal from
anything
corporations.
good. Sucks. Oh yeah, I think I commented I've never had a problem stealing from corporations.
They've been stealing from us since
No.
the day we hatched. So, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, maybe I'm just a criminal at heart, that's the way I grew up and everything, but, um,
Well, with
I
all of these unjust laws going around, hey, it is time to be breaking a lot of fucking laws,
yeah, and people
right?
say, "Oh, you're stealing from the actors in Hollywood." Oh, half of them are pro genocide and shills for this and shills for that. I mean, look at the Ozempic revolution. I'm not saying there's not people who don't need Ozempic, but uh, but I mean, they're like trying to this Twiggy, that model back in this. It's like this
Oh
super
yeah.
skinny, gaunt, unhealthy. I don't know.
Standard of beauty.
Standard. Well, all
Twiggy.
beauty standards are rooted in pedophilia anyway. So,
Yes.
but, you know, I and that's another thing about being an outlaw. Quit, modeling your sense of yourself about what somebody in a suit in an office decided they wanna sell this year. They wanna sell skinny, or they wanna sell curvy, or they wanna sell, this thing or that thing, or they're in bed with big pharma, and they're gonna make movies where everybody looks like they've been starving for 9 years in a concentration camp or whatever. Stop letting other people in society who just profit off your misery tell you how to feel about you, you know?
Stop it.
And
Stop.
any you know what, and like I said, these beauty standards are rooted in pedophilia anyway, and any real man's gonna love you no matter how you look anyway. So
That's
why
right.
why does everybody gotta kill themselves trying to fit some societal model of how you're supposed to look or how you're supposed to feel or, you know, follow this trend or that? Who gives a shit? So yeah,
Who
be an
gives a
outlaw,
shit?
be
That's
different.
right. That's right. Let me just read some of the comments and stuff, okay, for a minute, Spencer. Remember I told you I was gonna maybe do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
I wanna just, say hello to some people and also read some comments. I see oh, Evie joined. You guys, I wanna shout out some of the people that I've been on lives with before, just like Spencer. I follow some amazing people. Evie's one, Evie Bateman. Also, Nick G, Dude on the Couch. She was one of the first people I had on live and just love his work. Christopher Armitage was another one.
Nice.
Jackie A, she's an amazing anti-racism
Awesome.
powerhouse. And Emmett Tatter, I don't know if you're connected with him yet, Spencer, but
I'm not
he's
sure.
also an amazing writer. You guys would probably have a lot in common too. So, hello, Bill, Steve, Passive House Whisperer, Patrick. Let's see who else. Kathy Stein. Hi, Kathy. She's saying, let's talk about a barter system. What are you good at to trade services? Yes. Talk to your neighbors about those
Yeah.
things, right?
Yeah, like
Susan
I
Main, Astro Plates, Eminem's on here, and they've been talking a lot. Hi, and thank you for your comments. They said I'm on a go on offense type of person. That's what we need to be. We need to be on offense and defense. Yes. but we need
Yeah.
to be on offense too.
I'm not saying offense can't be
Regulation.
part of the revolution, it's just not
Well,
the
and
whole
that's
picture.
the thing, and one of the things I really appreciated about you is that, and you mentioned it just a little bit ago, is that you're not really afraid and you're sensible to know, like, there is gonna be violence.
Mhm.
What I'd say to people is, like, they're like, "We can't be violent." Like, there already is violence. People are being killed, they're being shot, they're being kidnapped, they're being deported, they're being raped, they're being impregnated, children, like, there's already violence. So,
Yeah.
to say to for everyone to be peaceful is literally nonsensical and sounds like propaganda to
Yeah.
keep people oppressed, that we have to have nonviolent solutions for incredibly violent genocidal people. That is, of course, I would love it, but let's be real.
Yeah.
And I'm not advocating for violence, but there's going to be violence. So
Yeah. The
if
world we want's
people,
gonna require an unfathomable amount of it, unfortunately.
right.
And,
And so if people are connecting in a way where they are protecting their communities,
mhm,
right? And with,
right,
like, not in isolation, not in this, like, rugged individualism, but like you're saying,
right.
connecting with others, that's what's gonna be needed.
Yeah,
That's
and
what's gonna be needed.
yeah, and, that's just one big part of the pie, though. I stand with thinkers like Mill and Kropotkin, where they talk about how cooperation is superior to competition in evolution. I believe that. I've seen it.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that's why this rugged hustle and grind individualism, every man for himself bullshit's got to go. And you
Gotta
know,
go.
it's got to go. We've
Gotta
got to
go.
start holding all things in common again. And you know, um, you know, I honestly believe that the suits, the government, and I hate that word because they're not a government.
Not
Um,
at all.
they've been actively testing us for about the last decade,
Oh,
to see
yes.
if we'd ever have a revolution, and we've done nothing.
Nothing.
We've had cosplay protests and marches on the Capitol and pep
Yes.
rallies and
Yep.
sit-in demonstrations and all these. And I'm not saying those things are not good. I am not saying that. Please don't take it
Me
that way.
neither.
Those
Right.
things,
There's a place for
absolutely,
them.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a place for them in the revolution, but
Yes.
it's not gonna. They're all sitting around Bohemian Grove laughing at us. They probably have their own set of memes about us.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. Oh,
They
yeah.
probably have their own social media that we don't know about, where they just post memes about us every day, you know?
Mhm.
But
Speaking of that, one of the things that made me realize that, see, I was, unfortunately, I'll admit it, also brainwashed for a very long time in my life.
no.
I did wake up to things when Bush versus Gore,
Mhm.
when the Supreme Court ended up deciding that election and, Jeb Bush was the governor. I mean, it was just so contrived.
Right.
And then, also, I lived in New York City at the time of September 11th, and when those buildings came down, I just had this feeling in my gut, like, that doesn't seem, like, quite right," and
Yeah.
started to really question everything, seeing us go into, Iraq
Right.
being, a manufactured reason for war out of 9/11. So I kind of stayed out of politics for a long time because I just was so disgusted and I knew it was kind of all a bunch of bullshit. But then I got roped back in during the
Mhm.
Trump era,
Yeah.
because it just seemed so, like, such an emergency. But then, once again, the November 2024 came around and I saw that what seemed like a very obviously fucked with the election,
Mhm.
that the Democrats just didn't say anything at all. There was bomb threats, there was, like, I think there was, like, burning ballot boxes maybe, or removed ballot boxes. There
Yeah.
were all of these irregularities, there was tabulation irregularities, there was all kinds of, he won, like, all of the swing states, I think. It was just right, and then there was nothing from the Democrats at
Right.
all, and that's when I really started trying to understand the funders of these parties, and realized, oh, they're all the same. They're all the
Yeah.
same. So, it took me different stages of my adult development to really understand
Mhm.
what's going on.
Yeah.
And so I can acknowledge that we are a very mind controlled society.
Mhm.
We're very brainwashed. We grow up around propaganda everywhere all the time, school, church, news. So again, that you at a young age, and me at some age, at people different times in their life can kind of see through what's happening,
Yeah.
kind of identify hypocrisy,
Yeah.
can, intuit things. These to me are almost like ways, things we need to teach our young people.
Mhm.
We need to teach them how to actually intuit, to follow their gut, that hair on the back of their neck, the goosebumps, like the
Yeah.
things that are our body and our brain kind of telling us, don't believe that person, or you can, just giving us a vibe of how to stay safe or how to
Yeah.
maybe even know what reality is. Because that's conditioned out of us
Yeah. Every human
through
being
these
has
institutions.
yeah. Every human being has, you can call it spidey senses, sixth sense, intuition, like you said, whatever you wanna call it. Every human being through evolution, we have a highly evolved, hair standing up on the back of your neck response to predators, and we ignore it because they wear suits, they have a familiar face, they smile, they say the right things. That's why, I mean, at some point, we have to just realize these people are not our friends. Cops aren't your friends. None of these people are your friends. The you got to get out of the tribalism, this party versus that party, and blaming this
Yes.
party and that party. What
Yes.
we really have to really realize is that America has become nothing more than an oil company with an army.
Mhm.
That is all we are, and it's time to shut that shit down.
Shut
And
that shit down.
yeah, you know, yeah. I mean, you talk about 9/11. It was a manufactured event, and it's gonna piss a lot of people off. It was a manufactured event to
Yes.
manufacture consent to go get more oil and
That's
to
right.
take land rights away from people,
That's right.
and, there's no such thing as a terrorist, in my opinion. There is just poor people in other countries that are trying to hold on to their land. They're trying to not live in open air prisons like Gaza. They're trying to survive. They're trying to eat. They're trying to raise their kids. They love their kids just like you love yours. If you, I don't know if you have any, but you get my point.
Mhm.
They're great people. I know a lot of Muslims. I know a lot of Arabic people. I know a lot of Jewish people. I know a lot of different kinds of people. I'm 54 years old, about to be 55 in a few months. I've known all kinds of people in my life. There's more good people, I think, than there are bad,
I
but they've
agree.
sold us this idea that, you know, these people, and it's just like, I know Chomsky's in bad odor because of the Epstein files, but he has a great book called Manufacturing Consent.
Oh,
Read
yeah, that
it.
was a great book.
It
Instrumental to me, that work.
yeah, it'll open your
Yes.
eyes in ways that,
Also,
you know,
George Carlin.
yeah, George Carlin. I miss George. Great.
I
He was
mean,
way ahead of his time.
he broke it down. People could just listen to
Yeah.
him,
Yeah, it's
but
like even, a great thinker I like a lot, yeah, Gene, Beauregard. The Matrix movies were based on a lot of his work and the work of Descartes and so forth, but it has a great quote I love that Disneyland, and I may get it wrong, not verbatim, but Disneyland was constructed to make you believe everything outside of it's actually reality. Sit with that for a minute. Yeah. Everything you've been told
wow.
since the time you were a kid, forced to say the Pledge of Allegiance and respect your pastors and cops and your mom and your dad and
Everything.
and their imaginary friends in the sky. Everything you've been told since you were a little kid is bullshit. And it's up to every individual who wants to have an outlaw mindset to find whatever they got, whether it's books, whether it's other people, whether it's just sitting with yourself and really thinking about what the hell is all this. it's everybody's responsibility to really sit with things instead of saying, "Okay, we're going to switch management in 2028, and the Dems will come save us, or we'll have Democratic Socialists, and that'll be better." Well, what are you going to do if there is no election in 2028? Okay,
Right.
it is an incredible possibility right now, and don't give me
That's
that
right.
crap about the Constitution. They're shitting all over the Constitution right now as
The
it is.
Supreme Court specifically.
Yeah, the Constitution means nothing. Like I said, the Constitution was written to manage a state, not set people free from the state. And when these guys get together and they put their money and their resources together, and it's not just resources in this country, it's also resources in other countries,
Globally.
even
Yes.
countries we think are our enemy, like Russia. No, okay, get out of this tribalist drawing lines in the sand bullshit they sold you. When these guys get together, at Bohemian Grove, and I'm using that just as a metaphor. I don't, whether it's real or not, I don't care. But my point is, the Constitution's not going to matter. This amendment, that, and that amendment, this, it's not going to matter.
Doesn't. They're
It
not
doesn't
following
matter.
it. This regime is not following court orders, for fuck's sake. They have
No,
completely shit on that thing. One of the parties, even though it's really one party, one presentation of the uniparty is a cult. Like, you can't
yeah.
do politics with a cult. If the
Right,
cult does not believe that democracy doesn't believe in democracy, which they don't, you
right.
can't do politics with that. So
No,
Congress is a performance. It's all a performance.
it,
And they're not even that good.
I don't
And
watch.
it's yeah, go
I
ahead.
don't watch wrestling. WWE. But my kid brother loves it, and I learned um a really good term from wrestling from him because he's a big wrestling nut. He loves Stone Cold Steve Austin and all that. It's called kayfabe.
I knew you were going to say that because I learned it right here on live
Oh, really?
from Nick G, Dude on the Couch. I
That's
recommend
cool.
because
Yeah,
he
so
follows
see?
wrestling. So he told me about this
Yeah, it's all
and he talks
kayfabe.
about it a lot. Yes,
Yeah.
kayfabe.
MAGA red, MAGA blue, they all act like they're fighting, but they're really not. Their offense and defense are the same team. They're all friends behind the scenes. I mean, look at photos of like where they all how they all sit together at these big press events. There's literally photos of Obama sitting with Trump. There's literally photos of Hillary Clinton sitting with Netanyahu, and
Well,
but they all talk
and
shit.
Michelle Obama loves GW Bush. She
Yeah.
loves him.
I mean, even the actor Hugh Jackman's big friends with Ivanka or whatever. Isn't that the daughter? I don't know. I don't follow his kids much, but I mean,
Yeah,
it's
me neither.
even Hollywood. They sell it. I mean, movies are made now to sell you what they're doing. It's the movies and TV
Literally.
manufacture consent as well. Look at
It
Marvel films.
sensitizes. It
Yeah,
grooms us for what's coming.
Marvel films, I hate them. I think they're I mean, some of them 'em I've enjoyed. I'm not gonna lie and say I've hated all of them. I'm a big kid at heart just like everybody else, but at its core, Marvel films, DC films, they manufacture consent for the military industrial complex. Just like Rambo films and all that, Schwarzenegger films, all those things did the same job back in the '80s when we were growing up.
Good
Um
point. RoboCop.
and we got propaganda. Look at primetime TV. You got Law and Order SVU. You got
Oh
Blue
yeah.
Bloods. You got all these like the old people shows. But I mean, like they manufacture consent for to say, oh well, cops. That's just an isolated incidents that they hung a black man from a tree. They wouldn't. Not all cops are that way. Horse shit. Horse shit.
Horse shit. Horse shit.
Cops are not your friends. Police have one function. They protect capital and they protect property. And who owns that capital and property? Rich people.
That's
They
right.
that's their entire job. I guarantee my house got broken in 2 years ago. It took them 30 minutes to come to my house. I have never called I've never called the police again in my life. But the police years ago, well, not years ago, it was about 5 years ago when I still lived in Oklahoma. The police raided my house one night. Now, I thought it was because I thought they were, like, coming to get me for what I do online and the things I write.
Okay.
They had the wrong house,
Oh, oh my God. So you had a
and
scare.
I have a video of it. But, My kid brother was living with me at the time. He got hurt. I mean, there was like all this bad stuff that happened in my house. Things got broken, and you know what? You know what I got? Tough shit. That's basically what you know.
Was that like your house being swatted,
I don't know. I
maybe?
didn't think about that till now.
Well, either way, I'm glad you're okay,
Oh, thanks. But I
with your
mean,
brother.
if they came in my house like animals, actually, my wife and I were still dating, and we were on the phone when it happened, and I was like, I disappeared for like 3 hours. They put me in the back of a squad car, and then they found out, oh, nothing's wrong at this address. And like, they didn't apologize. They didn't, I had to go back in and put my house back together. I mean, it was a mess. I mean, these guys are animals, all of them. They're a bunch of guys who couldn't cut it in the real man's military, and they all became psychotic Nazi killers for the state. Don't get me started on cops. I'm sorry if you've got a granddad who was a police officer who
I
treated you
don't have
nice.
any.
No, I'm
I
just
don't
saying,
have
so
any.
I always get
Yeah.
that comment. My papaw was a police officer, and he was a really good man. He was nice to you, granddaughter.
Well, again, it's the institution. It's systemic, right?
Yeah,
It's like you can be a person in it and maybe you're not, you know, doing the worst of crimes, but you're participating
yeah,
in a system that was designed to up here, like I think you were talking about protecting property, and in the South, protecting the people,
yeah,
the property, that the human beings, trying to, the enslaved people,
right.
getting them, essentially capturing them, right? So,
Yeah, the whole idea of policing came from slave catching. So,
right,
yeah,
right. A lot of people don't
a lot
realize
of
that,
people don't get that. Yeah.
right?
Because
Yeah.
before the slave industry, the chattel slavery industry, basically rulers, kings, or whoever, they had armies that handled their problems. But when human beings became a commodity to these rich assholes, what did they do? They hired groups of thugs to go out and round them up because soldiers were too busy off doing other shit.
Hey, it sounds just like ICE. It's the exact same thing. Hiring thugs to go around and round people up.
Yeah,
Nothing's changed.
no,
It's just
nothing.
a new version.
Hmm.
And like you were saying before about, the Disneyland making you feel that everything outside of it is real. By the way, that
Hmm.
is really cool idea to understand.
That's been
Um,
sitting with me for a couple of decades now.
yeah,
Yeah,
right. And just the ability for Americans to literally be blinded
yeah,
to what's in front of their eyes. Like right now, people really believing that an election can actually solve our problem.
no, it's not.
Right. And so it's like when
Switching
I think that
management's not gonna do anything.
when I think about like how do people actually believe it? But then I know it's denial. Like it's a psychological defense mechanism and it's very powerful.
Yeah,
And people can, like you said, believe that the midterms are going to be a blue wave and that's going to stop what's happening. That's going to shut down them concentration camps. So, anyway,
no,
Spencer, listen, it's been over an hour, I think. So it'd be good
yeah.
to wrap it up
Okay.
and we can do this again,
Yeah, have me back
and we
anytime. I've got
shall.
tons to say, believe it or not.
Really? I didn't know. And reason why is because we're going to have to know each other forever because we're going to be in a community getting through this and what will come, which will
Mhm.
be even way harder than this,
Yeah,
right?
and
So I want to
yeah,
stay in touch with you, keep following your work, and I want everybody to know to follow Spencer. And
thank you.
that's I love talking to you. I love your work, and
Thank
let's
you.
stay connected. We can
Absolutely.
message again and we can
Yeah,
set it up. And yeah, we'll have plenty to talk about
yeah, just everybody,
today.
yeah, everybody needs to get to work, and I you
Yes.
know, I all this anti-hope propaganda needs to go out the window too. We can do this. We can. I believe in us and
I do too.
all of
I
us.
believe in the
We really
people.
can.
I do believe in us. I don't believe in the politicians. I don't believe in the political parties. I don't believe in elections, but I very much believe in people. And
Right.
I believe that the humane people who want us all to be safe and free, we way outnumber these fucking pedophile sociopaths. I can
Mhm.
guarantee it. But people are starting to believe because they see them everywhere. That's the majority. That's the majority. No, it's not.
No,
We are. We're the majority of
exactly.
the people.
We are. Exactly.
All right. Well, this was great. Thank you again. And
Yeah.
I want to say thanks for everyone to join. And please follow Spencer and read all of his articles. They're there. They're great reads and support his work as a paid subscriber.
Thank you.
All right.
I had a good
Okay.
time. Bye-bye.
Me too. It was great. Bye. Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Bye bye.
Bye.